Welcome back. Now for your 5-day weather forecast, we go outside to Sarah Jacob.
Thanks, guys. Much of the GTA is under a special weather alert tonight, as we may be seeing up to 10 centimeters of snow. That snow tonight will then turn to rain-snow mix, and please do take caution when driving on the roads tonight. Now for a check at your 5-day weather forecast. Tonight we'll be getting down to a low of 2 degrees, and the snow that we're getting today will then turn to rain, and we may possibly see some rain-snow mixes in some areas. Tomorrow we'll get up to a high of 6 and a low of 2 degrees. Carry your umbrella though, because we'll be seeing some light rain. Heading into your weekend, we'll see above freezing temperatures. On Friday, look forward to a high of 6 and a low of 0. It'll be cloudy with some showers. On Saturday, look forward to a high of 5 degrees and will dip slightly below freezing for a high of -1. Sunday is an okay end to your weekend. We'll have a high of -1 and a low of -6. That's it for your 5-day weather forecast. Once again, do take special care when driving on the roads tonight. Back to you in the studio.
Now turning to national and international news. Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi's forces have bombed an oil storage facility and pipeline. An Associated Press reporter saw an explosion near the oil facility located roughly 600 kilometers east of Tripoli. There have been battles around several key oil ports for the last week. Rebels have called for a no-fly zone over the country to prevent such attacks, but Gaddafi has threatened to retaliate against any attempt to control Libyan airspace. The United States and Britain have said they would institute a no-fly zone with UN support.
The ongoing crisis in the Middle East is causing oil prices and the Canadian dollar to soar. Rising oil prices have boosted the global opinion of Canada's economic strength, causing the loonie to reach new heights. The Canadian dollar reached its highest level since November 2007 as of this morning at $1.0335 US. Oil prices have spiked 17% since February 18th, and the loonie is up almost 2 cents since then.
A new report by Canada's Auditor General says Nunavut isn't doing enough to protect children in its care. Sheila Fraser says the territorial government isn't meeting its own safety standards and isn't doing safety checks on foster homes. The report found criminal record checks of adoptive homes were not made in 4 of 13 cases examined. Fraser also says social service workers aren't able to track children or ensure the programs meet their needs due to a shortage of social workers and a lack of training. Nunavut's government has accepted the report's recommendations and promises to hire and train more workers.
After 12 days in space, Shuttle Discovery has returned home. The shuttle touched down at Kennedy Space Center in Florida around noon today, ending its 39th and final mission.
And to the ship that has led the way time and time again, we say farewell, Discovery.
Discovery traveled to the International Space Station, where the crew had to do 2 spacewalks to perform maintenance. The shuttle also carried supplies and a permanent multi-purpose module that will be docked at the space station. Discovery will spend its retirement at the Smithsonian's National Air and Space Museum in Washington.
And now with your sports news, here's Tom Yanni.
Well, the Humber Hawks are coming off a big weekend and now have their sights set on CCAA Gold. Humber is sending 3 teams to nationals, including the men's and women's volleyball team and men's basketball. Both men's and women's volleyball tip off Thursday at 2 p.m., with the men taking on Red Deer in Sherbrooke, Quebec, and the women facing off with Mount Royal in St. John, New Brunswick. The men are off until March 17th and will be tipping off against Mount St. Vincent University in Durham. In pro sports, the Leafs had a chance to inch closer to the 8th and final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference, but came up short in overtime against the Islanders. The Leafs overcame 3 one-goal deficits in regulation, but Blake Como tipped in a Radek Martinic point shot in overtime to win it for the Isles. The Buds earned a single point, but failed to capitalize on a loss by the Buffalo Sabres, who lost 3-1 to the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Leafs now sit in 10th place, 4 points behind the 8th place Buffalo Sabres. The Montreal Canadiens picked up a crucial 4-1 victory last night against the Boston Bruins, but it was a costly victory for the Habs. Scary moment here as winger Max Pacioretty was knocked unconscious by 6'9" Bruin defender Zdeno Chara. Chara hit the streaking Pacioretty at the end of the Bruins bench, pushing him headfirst into a partition. He was attended to by the training staffs of both squads before being taken off on a stretcher. Pacioretty was taken to the hospital for observation, and good news is he was conscious and moving. Chara is facing a possible suspension now. Winnipeg hockey fans may need to cool their jets as NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman held a press conference last night to address the ownership situation and ongoing sale of the Phoenix Coyotes. The Coyotes used to be the Winnipeg Jets until '96. Bettman met with Glendale City officials where the team now plays and potential owner Michael Holsheiser yesterday in continuing efforts to clinch the sale. But a watchdog group has thrown a wrench into the deal, claiming that special concessions made by Glendale to Holsheiser are unconstitutional. Bettman is still hopeful that a deal can be made, but hockey fans in Manitoba are still hoping the team might return to Winnipeg. Finally, the 2011 Brier is in full swing, and there are some familiar faces at the top of the leaderboard. 2010 Olympic gold medalist Kevin Martin and his Alberta rink sit atop the standings, tied with Ontario and Glen Howard and Jeff Stoughton's Manitoba rink. The championship game is on Sunday. You are now up to date in the world of sports. Now back to the studio.
Thanks, Tom. After the break, we'll get the latest entertainment from Trishelle Esposito.
Coming up in entertainment, Canadian Music Week kicks off and Gaga starts a bad romance with Target. This and all things entertainment after the break.